Joining me for a meeting that has been months in the making is Allegheny County Councilperson Bethany Hallam. Welcome back to your third appearance on this show.
My favorite place to be. Thank you for having me.
That means a lot coming from you. So we were supposed to talk about the primaries in May. What? And there's elections on next Tuesday.
Yep.
Give us the rundown.
I wanted to keep the juicy conversations of the general election for this, of course.
Right. So give us a rundown of the primaries and then the general election. I guess somehow combine them into one.
Oh, I can do that all day. So we had really a historic race in the city of Pittsburgh in the primary that I definitely want to focus on because we elected our Democratic nominee for mayor of the city of Pittsburgh, the soon-to-be first Black mayor ever of the city of Pittsburgh, which it's ridiculous that it took until 2021 for that to happen, but here we are. And so that was really my excitement of the primary. The other really hotly contested races that we had here in Allegheny County were our Court of Common Pleas seats. So you're going to find this juicy because this was really juicy. We had something like 30 candidates running for 9 seats on our Court of Common Pleas. So I know that you have viewers from all over the world. So I will explain because not everyone elects judges where they live, right? So I should probably explain that because here in Allegheny County, we elect judges all up and down the ballot, right? We have magisterial district judges, which are kind of like a good way to look at it is like neighborhood judges, municipal judges. They're kind of your first line of defense in our criminal justice system. You get arrested, that's where you're going, right? You're going there first to get arraigned, to a lot of times cases get dismissed at the magisterial district judge level. If the magisterial district judge, which those seats are elected, if they decide that your case is to move forward, that's where you go. Like people call it big court. People say going downtown because that's where big court is. The Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas is the next step. That is our big court. That's where, barring any appeal to a higher court, that's where your case is going to be adjudicated at. So we had usually in past years, we've had like maybe at the most 2 seats up every few years. This year, we had 9 seats that were up on the ballot. So as you can imagine, every lawyer in Allegheny County wanted to run for it. Most of them did. And it costs a lot of money to run a countywide campaign. I know, Jonathan, you and I had talked about that when I ran countywide, it's just like, oh my gosh, 1.3 million people, over 900,000 registered voters that you have to reach to run countywide in this county, the second most populous county in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So everyone ran for judge. The top 9 Democrats, top 9 Republicans, we're moving forward to the general. And then, like it was written in a movie plot, a judge who was sitting on the Court of Common Pleas decided that he was not going to seek retention. Retention is kind of what it's called. We don't re-elect the judges. Once you're elected, you're there till you retire at 75. But every 10 years, you come up for what's called retention. Do the voters want to retain you as judge? People don't really run a campaign for it, but it's kind of just like, no one ever doesn't get retained when they're up for retention. So a judge who was supposed to be up for retention decided he wasn't running after the primary already happened. And so we had a magical 10th seat open up. Okay. And so the voters didn't get to vote. Don't put that guy on the screen with me. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay, I'll switch it to someone.
Jonathan.
I'll switch to someone more palatable.
Okay, I'll take that one. There you go. And I see the other tab. I see the other tab that you have up there. Don't even try it. Okay. Don't you dare. I see it. I already know where this is going. All right. We can talk about this person on our screen in a little bit because that's 2022 and we got to get through 2021 elections first, okay?
Okay. Oh,
I know
okay.
what you're doing here. So we had, you think you're funny, huh? You think,
Once I learn the other tricks about Zoom, you're gonna see how funny I can be.
so we had a 10th seat up after the primary. How do we decide who gets the 10th seat? Who gets the 10th nominee, the Democratic nominee and the Republican nominee? The committee members of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party each hold a convention, kind of like a special election almost, where only the committee members of the county, not even all of them, chair, vice chair, and secretary or treasurer, get to pick for the whole county who the Democratic nominee is. So we have 10 candidates, 10 Democrats, 10 Republicans, and one Green Party candidate running for 10 seats on the Court of Common Pleas on Tuesday. So in addition to electing the first Black mayor of the city of Pittsburgh, the most exciting mayoral candidate we've ever had, we also have a lot of judicial races, and that's on top of school board elections, borough council elections. We have 130 municipalities in Allegheny County, city council elections, county council elections, our sheriff, and then the statewide courts, the appellate courts, Commonwealth Court, Superior Court, Supreme Court. We have over 1,700 candidates running for office in Allegheny County on the November 2nd ballot. That is absurd, but awesome, because you know what I think, everybody should run for office.
Wow.
Except Steven Zappala, so don't put him back up there, okay?
Yeah, I was gonna say, before we get to the statewide races, because you guys also have statewide races, as you might have noticed, I tried to drag Bethany into a countywide feud between the Allegheny County DA and the Allegheny County executive.
You don't need to drag me in. I've been in it, Jonathan. I've been in the feud.
So you want to explain what in the world was going on with these two people? Because it's two separate stories, one of which is more severe than the other.
Well, I guess it depends on who you ask which one is more severe.
I thought it was the Zappala story.
I don't even know where to start. That is such a loaded question. Okay, so
okay, let me reframe it. What do you not like about Steven Zappala and Rich Fitzgerald?
I said we had 40 minutes, not 4 days for this conversation.
Okay, fine. Never mind about that.
But what I will say is I will explain who these people are and how much they oppress people in this county. I would be happy to do that, right? So Allegheny County Executive Rich Fitzgerald, basically the way our county government is structured is we used to have a 3-commissioner body of government. It was the legislative and the executive body combined into one. It's actually how most counties government is structured in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Back in 2000, the voters actually voted on a ballot referendum to change the form of government. Instead of having 3 people who represented everyone, they decided to make it that there was an executive branch that was one person, the county executive, and a 15-member body, legislative body, county council, where I'm one of the at-large members. That did not go well, in my opinion, and the opinion of many other people. So the county executive is in his last term right now. He is term limited. So I have a little countdown waiting for the day that the term is ended, but he can't run again. So that is going to be an open seat. It is up in 2023. So we're not electing a county executive this year. We're not electing a district attorney this year. Both of those races are up in 2023.
Because I thought that one of them was on the ballot this year.
No, neither of them are. Both of them are on the ballot when I'm on the ballot in 2023. But Rich won't be this year. The county executive won't be. It's an open seat because he can't run for it again. So that is really my saving grace. That's really what I'm counting down the days to. That's really what I'm waiting for, because I truly believe that that's what's holding this county back from being the county that people can be proud of, being a community that people can say, I'm from Allegheny County and I'm so proud to say that, because here's what we do to protect our neighbors. Here's what we do to fight for clean air and clean water. Here's what we do to serve the underserved and, so provide resources for the under-resourced. And I look forward to the day that can happen, but it's, unfortunately not going to happen until we have a new county executive leading this county. The district attorney, rumor has it he's not going to run again. I can't confirm that because I don't talk to him. He doesn't really get around much. Rich Fitzgerald, you'll see everywhere. But Steven Zappala is not around. There was some controversy with him lately. It's just the last in a long litany of controversies that have plagued his career.
The last time I remember him was when he allegedly denied bail to certain defendants.
Yes, and publicly, his email was made public where he said, do not give, and it wasn't certain defendants as much as it was, do not treat this attorney's clients. It was a vendetta against the attorney for an attorney, a very well-known older Black man who is a pretty prominent attorney in the area. He was very outspoken about systemic racism in the criminal legal system, particularly in Allegheny County with the district attorney's office and the courts. He spoke out about it on the record in a case that he was trying. And Steven Zappala sent out an email that was made public, basically saying, do not deal with this man's clients. Do not make deals. I don't know if it was necessarily deny bail. It was more do not make plea deals with them.
Okay.
And again, can't do that. I know I'm only in my first semester of law school, but I already know you can't do that. But anyways, really nothing came of it. And so here we are with a district attorney who has those thoughts about systemic racism. And again, counting down the days, him and the county executive's terms are over at the same time. So it'll be cause for celebration for everyone in this wonderful county.
Yeah, so now that controversy has been solved or will be solved in 2 years, are there any elections of note that are taking place in the 10 dozen county boroughs? Like, I know your friend Jess Semler is
10 dozen.
Your friend Jess Semler is like on Etna, and like, are any of these boroughs having elections that are of note?
Yeah, so I would definitely say that there are some hotly contested borough council races. Predominantly, remember, Allegheny County is majority Democrat, but we have some boroughs that are split, or the Republicans have a majority. For example, a couple years ago, a borough that's near where I grew up, Franklin Park, actually went from having almost all Republicans to electing, I want to say 3 out of the 4 slate of Democratic candidates that they put up. So that has been happening over the years as we're getting more of a Democratic majority in the county. You're starting to see it reflected in the boroughs. But truthfully, what I would say is really the hot button issue right now is school board races. You know, there are other counties even in Pennsylvania that don't elect their school boards. They're appointed by the mayors or their commissioners or whatever that is. We elect all of our school board members. And so half of every school board's members are up for election this year. So
I'm so excited to talk about school board races.
Oh, let's
I'm
go.
a conservative.
Let's go.
Okay, so the hot button issues in other parts of the country that are electing school boards are critical race theory. I think that's about it. That's about all that Republicans are talking about.
I was going to say that's literally, and masks. You forgot masks. Masks
Oh, masks.
Schools is the other thing. Yeah, we have 43 school districts just in our county. So you can imagine how many school board races we have. The Republican PACs, specifically like super PACs, are dark money PACs, as they're also called, are pouring hundreds of thousands of dollars into school board races all throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Individual school board slates of Republican candidates have received, most of them actually, a lot of the Republican slates for school board races in our county have received $10,000 contributions from these PACs. And really, the wildest part is the phrasing. Republicans are great at messaging. We've talked about this before, Jonathan. Their messaging is fantastic. It's wildly out of this world nonsense, but yet they are good at it and they convince people of it, you know?
Hey, school choice sells.
Exactly. School choice. And now the big thing is protect our schools, which when they say protect our schools, what they mean is you can't make our kids wear masks to protect the other students from COVID-19. But that's what they say, protect our schools, save our schools. It is just, there's literally political battles on curriculum being taught to students. And, it's just, it's brought up again, definitely that conversation of appointed versus elected school boards. But it's funny.
Or how about just having one county school board?
Oh, you mean like a Philadelphia, like a consolidated school board. I am a big fan of consolidation in lots of ways. I definitely think it's something to look at, but it's not something that you just jump from 43 to 1, right? And so I definitely think that that's starting to happen. There was a really hot issue, especially in the primary, with a merger. There was a group trying to merge a municipality with the city of Pittsburgh. So consolidation efforts conversations have started. I don't know where it's going with that. I know that a lot of people are unhappy with the conversations and the direction that the conversations are going and who's leading those conversations. But yeah, school boards are definitely something I'm concerned about, because remember, overwhelmingly, who serves on school boards? Parents, right? Shouldn't parents be the ones making decisions for their students? Yes, and that's who's on school boards, right? And so it's just so frustrating to see that. I mean, I was literally talking to my parents about this before dinner today. They were like, oh, it's just so political. I don't remember school boards ever being like this. And I was like, that's their whole plan. Let's indoctrinate children young, conservative Republicans. Like, that's their plan, is to control the schools, control what kids are learning, make it that kids have to go away to college before they actually get to see what the real world is. And that is so sad and so scary. And it really scares me when I think about, I plan to have children someday in the future. I'm worried about it, right? Right now, these are my constituents. I represent all 43 of the school districts in this county, right? I represent the people who go to all of them. And so just seeing how nasty and dirty these school board meetings have become, and how, hearing firsthand accounts. I have friends on school boards all throughout the county. Their lives are being threatened. People are showing up to school board meetings and not wearing masks. We had an incident, made national news. You might have seen it in one of our school districts, where there was a group that showed up protesting masks in schools, and they were giving Nazi salutes to the school board. And, things like that, just hurtful, horrible things. And these are parents. They have kids that are going to school alongside the kids of these school board members. These are people who live in your neighborhood. These are your next door neighbors. I have a neighbor that is so far out of his mind that I don't even look at him when we drive up the street, because he, has a QAnon school board candidate's a sign in his front yard, screams obscenities at me because of legislation I've introduced. Like, this person has kids going to school with these school board candidates that he is willing to put in threatening situations by advocating for a public supporter of QAnon, right? Like, it just seems like this is a movie. But in reality, it's what's happening in our schools. The sanctity of our schools is being threatened. I'm used to having to fight about school funding, that schools shouldn't be funded on property taxes because of what happens to disproportionate funding when you fund them that way. And instead, we're fighting about wearing masks and following science and allowing for history to be taught. And it baffles me, but it's the reality. And again, I say over and over again, I always talk about county council being a part-time job despite having such a large constituency and coming with part-time pay. But remember, school board members don't make a penny. These are folks who run a campaign and work really hard to be able to be a voice for the students on the school board, to be a voice for the parents on the school board. And to see them just coming into these horrible situations where they don't feel safe, that's not okay. And who is going to protect them? It's just really sad. And remember, anytime you meet a school board member, you see somebody who's running for school board, remember, that person's a hero. They are taking no pay, and it is a very thankless job. And they are fighting for all of our kids, even the ones who don't have any kids in the district. They're going to bat fighting for our kids. And I truly do think school board members are heroes. So let's make sure that we keep good ones on the board.
Right. Do you want to talk about statewide races for Supreme Court, Superior Court, and Commonwealth Court, I believe?
Yeah, these are the races that I really can't predict what's going to happen with. So we have one seat on the Supreme Court. We have one seat on the Superior Court. And we have 2 seats on the Commonwealth Court that are up right now.
I believe Republicans hold all of them.
No. No, don't have them. No, they don't have a majority on them, on all of them. But like, for example,
the ones that are up, the ones that are up.
Oh, you're saying the seats that are up, who holds them all?
Yeah, currently.
I actually don't know that. So if you say that they're all Republicans that hold the seats that are up right now, I believe you.
This is according to someone on Twitter. So yeah.
Oh, well, if it was on the internet, Jonathan, it was true.
Of course. But I don't know if it was Ben Forstate, so I'm not sure if it
was Ben Forstate, then it is true. Okay. I will say that if Ben said it, it is true. I don't know what the party is of the seats, because remember, courts are supposed to be nonpartisan, right? They're supposed to be, but yet when you elect judges, when you have campaigns for judges, which is all good, we should elect judges, they shouldn't be appointed. You fall into are the courts really, nonpartisan? And so it's hard, but we have again a full slate of Democrats for all 4 of those seats, a full slate of Republicans for all 4 of those seats. And the thing is, I would definitely say, if you get outside of like our little political bubble that we live in, right? And I say we because it's both of us, Jonathan. It's not just me. If we get out of our little political bubble, people aren't talking about the statewide judicial races, and it's such a shame. And I try to scream it from the rooftops wherever I go, because I mean, you and I have talked about this last time we met. Donald Trump sued me like over a dozen times in my capacity as a member of the Board of Elections in the 2020 election. And those cases were litigated in our Commonwealth Court and in our Supreme Court. And so it matters who's on those seats. I think he only won one. I'm pretty sure he only won one of his cases against us. He was trying to challenge mail-in voting and drop boxes and signatures on envelopes and secrecy envelopes, literally anything he could come up with to try to take valid votes away from people. Still to this day, they're spreading the big lie, but I digress. So these seats are really important because we need good, fair folks in these seats who are going to make the decisions that are right, who are not going to be legislators. That's the most important thing about judicial seats up and down the ballot. When you are a judge, you are not a legislator. Your job is not to make laws. Your job is to interpret the laws that exist. But within that interpretation, there is a scale. And so when we see people like, for example, I'm not going to say his name, but the candidate for the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, who isn't allowed to say, I'm going to do this because of judicial ethics rules, but uses campaign materials to say, I've ruled in favor of gun rights and school choice. And it's like, are you trying to legislate? Are you trying to say that this is what I'm going to do, regardless of what the case is about? I'm always going to side with school choice, or I'm always going to side with gun rights. Like, you need to interpret the law in a way that follows the law. That is your job as a judge. And so it's just a shame, again, like kind of like school boards, is we've seen school board races so politicized. Judicial races are very politicized. I would say they have been for longer, but even more so this year. Unite, Summer Lee, who was on your screen, her PAC actually ran a slate called the Slate of 8, and ran 8 judicial candidates on a criminal legal reform minded slate to really change the future of a bench. As I said, when you get elected to judge in Allegheny County, you're there till you're 75. So when you elect a judge, they could be there for 20, 30, 40 years. So it's important that when we're electing judges, especially 1/4 of the entire bench of the Court of Common Pleas this year, make sure we have the right people there. And so 5 of our 8 candidates won. And so we're really looking forward to some real changes in some interpretations of the law. So I'm really excited.
Well, I realize we might only have like a few minutes left, because we limited this to what, 30, 40 minutes? We got
10 minutes, Jonathan. We have 10 minutes left.
Okay, so why don't I first put something more palatable on the screen, and because this is the person we were going to talk about for our grand finale.
Oh, great. I can talk about Summer all day. You know that.
And you might notice the tab right next to her. We can leave that till next year. I believe yeah.
Jonathan, you can hit the X on it, on the other one.
Okay, yeah.
We're not talking about that right now.
Okay, but we are talking about this person.
Yes, we are.
She's running
State
for
Representative
Congress.
Summer Lee. Yes. So Summer Lee, the day after, so it's currently, this is the thing about redistricting, right? Is we don't really know right now what districts are going to look like, and we definitely don't know what their numbers are going to be. So I'm going to talk in the context of what they are right now. Okay. So the majority of Allegheny County is divided into two congressional districts, PA 18 and PA 17. PA 17 is held by Representative Congressman Connor Lamb, and PA 18 is held by Congressman Mike Doyle. So Congressman Lamb, as I'm sure you know, has announced that he is running for the PA Senate seat next year, being vacated by Senator Toomey. We are all throwing parties, excited to get rid of Senator Toomey, really excited about that, but have no idea what's going to happen in that Senate race. To be honest, I will tell everyone I am most excited about the next thing where I'm about to say, because Congressman Mike Doyle announced his retirement, in the very next day, State Representative Summer Lee, who is a role model of mine, a great mentor to me over the years, has announced that she is seeking to fill that vacancy. It's an open seat. This is truly one of those things, you know, people say once in a lifetime opportunities. I actually hate when people say that, but this really is. Congressman Doyle was in there for a while, a little over 2 decades. And so this seat is open for the first time in that long. Last year, there was someone who ran against Mike Doyle in the primary and lost by many points. And so this year, that same person is running again. And right now, the only 2 candidates who have announced to fill the vacancy of Congressman Doyle are him and State Representative Summer Lee. I am so excited about it. She announced a race, raised over $100,000 in 24 hours of announcing. And I'm just really excited to see her in Congress, because I know that's where she belongs. She has truly done so much for our region, not just when it comes to legislating, right? It is tough to be in the PA House where the Republicans have a majority, and she is definitely a progressive member of the state house. So it has been an uphill battle when it comes to passing legislation at the state level for all of our Democrats. But what she's done, even to me, more importantly, is she really is an organizer at heart, and she has organized people to not just elect her in the races that she's running. For her, in the movement that she's really championed, is it's about all of us collectively fighting for power, for people power, right? All of us together. And that is something that I respect so much, because especially in politics, I don't need to tell you, it's a lot of me all the time, right? You know, this is what I'm going to do. This is why you need to elect me. But instead, with Summer, what she is so good at is inspiring people to take it for themselves, right? To not think about Summer or what she's running for or what she's doing, but instead to say, hey, I can do that too, right? After I saw Summer and Sarah and Amarato win their state house seats in 2018, that's how I knew that I could run, right? That's how I knew that anyone who truly believes in bettering the region that they live in, anyone who truly loves their community and wants to help protect it and fight for it every day, those are the only qualifications for running for office. You don't need to have a fancy last name. You don't have to have a bunch of zeros at the end of your bank account. You don't need to use nepotism or other political connections. You just have to be yourself and have the passion to fight for the people that are in your district. That's really all it takes. That's the only prerequisites. Summer and Sarah taught me that. And so to see Summer, you know, she's going into she's in the middle of her second term in the PA State House, and now to throw her hat in the ring for Congress. I just could not be more excited what she stands for, what she's fighting for. I'm excited to see her join the rest of the squad.
Wow. That is quite the campaign speech there.
Oh,
And
I didn't mean it to be that. She gets me so excited, right? She stands for the things I stand for. She fights for the people that nobody else is fighting for. She wants to protect the people that she represents. And isn't that what public servants are supposed to do?
oh, for sure. But just let the record show, I called this a year before it happened.
Okay, Jonathan, I will let the record show that you called this a year and a half before it happened. Yeah. I think it was longer than a year.
Okay, yeah, I'll take that.
You knew before Summer knew. So
I just figured she'd run.
I truly believe that she was, has been fighting for us in the state house and realized that the whole United States needs her to be fighting for us there.
Hey, Dom Costa, her seat's up for grabs.
No, Dom was who Sarah beat. Paul is who Trevor beat. They just happen to be cousins.
Well, her seat is now up for grabs for anyone who wants it.
Well, I don't know. She is also running for that seat. Her name is going, as of now, her name is going to be on the ballot for both seats. You can do that. You can only
double
hold
bunking.
one seat. You can only hold one seat, but think about it. Think about the kind of campaign that Summer ran. Think about why she's putting her name up for both seats. They tried so hard to take her down. They ran negative ads against her, even after she was the incumbent. And everybody said, that was the reason we didn't support you the first time, was we support incumbents. And then when she came up for re-election in 2020, they didn't support her again. She was the incumbent and they didn't support her. And they threw lots of money to beat her. And she prevailed, right? And she's been fighting for us ever since. I would do the same thing she did. The same thing's going to happen again. There's going to be lots of money coming into this race. There's going to be definitely more than 2 candidates for an open congressional seat. That is without a doubt that more people are going to be jumping in this race. We already know that I'm sure Rich Fitzgerald wants to pick a candidate that he thinks gets to succeed her. I know that Mike Doyle is probably going to want to, put someone up that he thinks should replace her too. Maybe he'll come out and support her. I don't know. But there are a lot of people who think that they get to dictate who is in that seat. But the best part about it is the only people who get to dictate who is the next congressperson in that district are the voters of that district. And that's how it should be. No one should get to say who gets to run for what, when it's your turn, who deserves this seat, who's earned this seat. No, the voters get to decide that. No elected official, no millionaires or billionaires, no fancy business people, nothing. It's the voters that get to decide. And that's the most fun part about a representative democracy, is that the voters get to come out and say, we've seen her fight for us in Harrisburg. We can't wait to see her fighting for us in Washington, D.C. And that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Well, Bethany, I think we are out of time and I know you've got stuff to do. So thank you so much for joining on the show. And I'm just going to leave this up here so people know who you are.
Oh, you're the best. I love that when you search my name, it comes up with our no naked ballot picture. So I put it online for the world to see. It was for a great cause. So enjoy. Hey,
all
Jonathan,
right.
Let's do a post-election wind down after November 2nd, okay?
Oh, for sure. See you next time, Bethany.